Welcome to My Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Steve and John have new plans for Clyde at the halfway house. Tate bothered about his future, given that Holly did not flash back the events from the night of her overdose. When Sloane appeared, Teresa blazoned that Sloane had taken over Tate's case from Justin. Tate retold his story of the night of Holly's overdose to Sloane. When Tate finished, Sloane bothered whether a jury would believe Tate's story if the case went to trial. Tate and Teresa were hopeful the case would avoid going to trial, but Sloane noted that the case was particular to. Sloane suggested that she arrange a plea deal. Tate said that it was BS, and he claimed that he'd done nothing wrong. When Sloane stepped down, Teresa encouraged Tate to follow Sloane's advice. Tate held out stopgap that Holly would recapture her recollections and clear him of any wrongdoing. Sloane reappeared, and she asked to speak to Teresa in private. After Teresa stood up, Tate spotted Teresa's phone across a table. Sloane told Teresa that she planned to file a formal complaint against E.J. In trouble to have him removed from Tate's case due to bias and lack of neutrality. Sloane said that she demanded Tate to stay sharp in the event his case headed to trial. Sloane said that she could not guarantee an outgrowth for Tate, but she promised to do everything she could to help. Teresa thanked Sloane. Back at the table, Tate seized Teresa's phone and stockpiled it in his fund. Moments laterally, Teresa returned. Teresa told Tate not to give up. Tate said that he wouldn't, and he and Teresa said that they loved one another. When Teresa left, Tate used Teresa's phone to try to shoot a communication to Holly through a social media account that belonged to Teresa. At the DiMera manse, Holly was thrilled when Eric followed Nicole into Holly's room. After Eric and Holly hugged, Nicole stepped out. When Holly told Eric about the night of her overdose, Eric derived that there was commodity Holly was not telling him. Holly said that New Year's Eve was still a blur for her. Nicole returned, and she gushed over Prince of Jude that Eric had been showing Holly. Eric participated that he'd waited until Nicole and Holly had returned to Salem before he and Sloane nominated Jude. Nicole suggested hosting a christening form at the DiMera manse. Eric said that Sloane would probably disapprove. Ultimately, Holly and Nicole converted Eric to bandy the offer with Sloane. Latterly, in the living room of the manse, Holly helped Nicole plan for Jude's christening. Nicole put her arms around Holly, and she said she did not know what she'd have done if Holly had not awoken from her coma. Holly said that Nicole was a survivor, and she said she did not want to talk about New Year's Eve again. Nicole agreed that she and Holly would concentrate on the christening form. Nicole and Holly said that they loved one another. When Nicole stood up to head out, Holly's phone chimed. Holly noted that she had entered a communication on social media from Teresa. Why the heck is Tate's mama sliding in my DMs? Sorry, lady. No time for you. I have got a party to plan, Holly said dismissively as she ignored the communication. At Sloane and Eric's apartment, Leo babysat Jude, who soon began crying. After he would changed a diaper, Leo cradled Jude. Leo began to tell Jude the story of the night Jude had been born, and he appertained to Sloane as an wrong, nasty, bottle golden wicked witch. Okay, that is not fair. We do not know for sure that she's a bottle golden, Leo fooled. Leo smiled at Jude, and he sounded to have genuine affection for the baby. Leo grew emotional when he noticed that Jude had started to smile at Leo. Moments laterally, Leo slipped a rap artist's outfit, and he rapped for Jude. Eric entered, and he was impressed that Jude sounded to like Leo. Eric learned that Sloane had asked Leo to babysit, and he noted that Leo and Jude sounded to get on. Sloane returned home as Leo prepared to leave. Eric said that Leo had done a good job babysitting Jude. Eric told Sloane about Nicole's offer to host the christening form at the DiMera manse. OMG, Nicole is just the sweetest. And the DiMera manse, what a perfect venue, Leo faked as Sloane's face grew abnegated. At Wendy and Tripp's apartment, Steve, John, and Ava continued to search for suggestions on how to find Tripp and Wendy. Ava spoke by phone to someone in her family, and she participated that the Vitali family had agreed to help in the hunt. What did it bring you? Steve asked. Ava said that her family had agreed to do her a one-time favor and that she'd deal with the consequences laterally, should they arise. Steve, John, and Ava agreed that they demanded any help they could get. As the three of them looked at arrangements of Statesville, Ava ran through a roster of effects they planned to use to break Clyde out of captivity. As Steve and John prepared to head out, they said that they demanded to pick up some special outfit. Ava learned that Steve and John planned to kidnap and interrogate Clyde about Trip and Wendy's position. Steve said that he and John had no plans to allow Clyde to leave Salem. Ava pushed back, and she said the idea of double-crossing Clyde was insane. Ava asked Steve to suppose about Trip's safety. Steve reasoned that Clyde could leave Salem without participating where Trip was being held, and he claimed that he and John would hold Clyde until he revealed Trip's position. Ava and Steve argued over Steve and John's decision, and she prayed the men to let Clyde leave Salem. "Steve, it's the price we're going to have to pay to save our son," Ava said. Steve heeded to Ava's worries, but he said that allowing Clyde to leave Salem was not an option. John sided with Steve, who reiterated that they planned to force Clyde to reveal Trip and Wendy's position. Ava reluctantly agreed to Steve and John's plan, and she said that all she wanted was for Trip to return home safely. Steve swore that he and John had everything they demanded to deal with Clyde. "But first, we have got a captivity to break into," John said with a touch of pride. Steve and John headed out. Violent captivity break, oxygen danger, Paulina deteriorates, Abe's confession. Days of Our Lives reveal that the operation to break Clyde Weston out of captivity is put into action. Trip Johnson and Wendy Shin begin running out of oxygen. Paulina Price's health deteriorates. Plus, Abe Carver declares his love for Paulina. Keep reading to find out what's coming up in the Peacock Cleaner pieces. Days of Our Lives violent captivity break. DOL spoilers for Friday, March 8th reveal that the plan to break Clyde out of Statesville prison is put into effect. Days of Our Lives spoilers Friday, March 8th violent captivity break, oxygen danger, Paulina deteriorates, Abe's confession. Ava Vitale, Tamara Braun, had to make a deal with her mob family, which was commodity she swore she'd no way do again. There's a price that Ava will have to pay, but the safe return of her son is worth it. Ava, Steve Patch Johnson, and John Black all do their part while Angelo Vitale does his to break Clyde out of captivity. DOL oxygen danger. While Ava, Steve, and John are breaking Clyde out of captivity, the peril intensifies for the double hostages. Trip notices that the air reflections are closed in the death chamber. Wendy formerly has anxiety and had one fear attack while in prison. So, the news that they're running out of oxygen might throw Wendy into another fear attack, which means she'll run out of oxygen briskly. Meanwhile, Trip will suggest they marry right also and there before they die. In an exercise clip, Wendy says, "I do," but she looks about ready to pass out. Days of Our Lives spoilers, Paulina Price deteriorates. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday, March 8th reveal that Lonnie Price Grant, Sal Stowers, and Chanel Dupree, Raven Bowens, will be agonized when Paulina deteriorates. As Lonnie and Chanel hold on to each other for comfort, Abe pours out his heart to Paulina. Dual spoilers, Friday, March 8th as Paulina tells her favored Bones that she's slipping down, Abe starts to cry. Abe eventually professes his undying love for Paulina. Now, suckers know that Paulina will probably survive this health extremity. So, will Abe's love be connected to Paulina entering a last nanosecond phenomenon? It's the stuff detergents are made of, so stay tuned. Which plot are you looking forward to seeing the most on Friday, March 8th? What are your prognostications for Trip, Wendy, Ava, Steve, John, and Clyde? What does the unborn hold for Abe, Paulina, Lonnie, Chanel, and the rest of the Salem residers?